Welcome to episode 1 of our Civilization 6 tutorial series, and today we are going to be looking at some of the very basics you need to get through the really early turns in a standard game of Civilization 6 and lay the foundations of your empire until you're nuked by Gandhi.
My attempts to avoid violence have failed.
Okay, in all seriousness, we are going to do this tutorial centered around my first few turns as Germany. Pretty much the first 10 to 15 turns. What do I build? What do I look out for? What kind of things do I research? And we're also going to do some pretty detailed dives into some important aspects, like how and where to find cities, most importantly, your capital. Anyway, this is our first time doing a video like this, so please do leave your feedback down in the comments. I will be sure to read and reply to as many as possible. And let's dive into what I do on turn 1. Funnily enough, the first thing you're going to need to do in a game of Civilization 6 on the first turn is found your capital city, which leads us quite nicely into our first deep dive of the episode. So founding your capital city, or pretty much any city for that matter, is one of the most important and fundamental things you will do in any early game. Now there's quite a few things you want to bear in mind. Today we're going to go over the basics. So the first thing you want to do when founding your capital city, or any city, is to have a look at what kind of water you are settling on. So the first thing you want to do when you settle is see what kind of access to water your current land tile has. So you can do this by pressing LB on Xbox, I'm sure it's corresponding on the PS4 and Switch. Go into lenses and click on the settler lens. Now as you can see, the map has lit up different colours. Importantly, the dark green bits we see next to the river mean that this tile is a freshwater tile, meaning you get an additional +3 housing. The ones in light green, that's why this is such a nice location to show this off, the ones in light green only have coastal water, which means you'll only get an addition of +1 housing if you found a city on that tile. Now why is this important? Well, basically you want more housing to start with. If you get more housing, if you get a +3 housing bonus from your tile, your city can grow for longer without having any negative impacts, without facing any real problems. So definitely if you can, found your city next to a river, found your city on fresh water. Now the second thing to do once you've done that, and a lot of people don't do this next bit, is go onto your options. This is very easy. Scroll over to interface. No, it's not, it's map options. Scroll over to map options and turn on show yield icons. Now they're not the most glamorous things in the world, but yield icons are absolutely vital. As you can see, we've now got little bits and bobs on every tile, and these pretty much just show the yield of that tile. For example, this crab tile here, I'm pretty sure you know that's a crab, is producing 1 food and 3 gold. We know that because it's got 1 little circle of food and 3 of gold. Now this tile here we're about to settle on for the purposes of this video has got 2 food and 2 production. Now what you want to be doing is scanning this area you're currently in and looking just what every tile has around it. When you found your city will take up the first ring. Now by the first ring I mean every tile that is adjacent to your current square. So that one, that one, that one, that one, that one and that one. They will all pretty much be in your borders and you can work any single one of them for the start. But then you have your second ring, etc, etc. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that at least within your first ring you have a tile like this, a 4 yield tile of 2 production, 2 food. We actually have a couple. This would be an okay settling location really. A couple of other things you want to bear in mind when founding your capital is you really could do with a luxury resource within 2 rings. We have that, look, we have the turtle there, a luxury resource. So that's within 2 rings. You need them to keep your people happy, and it's also nice to have a few strategic resources in there too. So now when we found the incredible city of Madrid, get out of the way. So now we've founded the incredible city of Madrid. As you can see, every tile I said was adjacent to our settler within 1. That is now within our borders, that is our first ring, and as you can see, just for clarification, everything just outside that 1 more out is within our second ring. If you've got a luxury within there, then that's pretty good. Hopefully now you will have a better idea of whereabouts to settle and what kind of things to look for. So what do you do next? Well, you've got a settler, what else have you got? Oh yeah, you've got a warrior. So what do you need to do with that? Should you leave it guarding your capital city like you did in Civ Rev maybe? No. Use your warrior to go and explore. I mean, what's the worst that happens? The barbarians come and take the city? It's probably not going to happen, and even if it does, you can just restart. What you need is knowledge of the landscape around you, so send your warrior out to start exploring. On your first turn as well, you're also going to have to make a couple of choices. The first choice you're probably going to have to make is what to produce in your newly founded city. Now, I always go straight into a scout. Like I just said for the warrior, you need to know what's around you, and that pretty much is why I build a scout. Another thing to remember with the early game is that there's lots of little nice villages around that will give you gifts. These gifts include things like gold and experience, so that can be invaluable in the early game and be really useful. The other thing you need to choose on turn 1 is what science to start researching, what technology to start researching. Now, unlike with the production where I pretty much always go into that scout first off, the science thing is not as easy. You need to choose your research on what kind of resources are around your city. For example, if you've got some animals around that you need animal husbandry to work, get animal husbandry. Just look at what is required to work the resources around your city and base your technology off that. Jumping forward a few turns now to something which would probably be more suitable for the combat and warfare episode we have in this series coming up in the next few weeks, but let's talk about promotions. As your units move around the map, maybe they discover things, maybe they win battles, but they will gain experience points. And you can then, with these experience points when you have enough, promote your unit by clicking on the medal icon at the bottom of your screen when it's lit up. It will usually be pretty obvious when you can promote a unit. Now, how should you promote them? Well, the promotions I tend to go for are the ones that best suit your location in whatever you are doing. For example, with a scout in the early game, if you've got lots of jungle around you, try and promote your scout so it can move through jungle faster. Stuff like that. Just think about what's appropriate for you right now. Another thing to consider with promotions is that they actually heal your unit by 50 health points or up to 50 health points. So, use the promotions, save them if you have to if you're in a war. Sometimes, maybe you've got a promotion. Send your archer to war, when it gets damaged, then use that promotion to heal it back up to full health. They can be used quite strategically. Moving on to turn 6, and this is when in our game the scout was finished building in our capital. So what do you want to do with that? Well, surprisingly, send it out to explore. I don't think there's any shocks there, but what I would recommend is sending it out in a different direction to where you sent your warrior. Send it to land you've not yet found. After a few turns too, don't be scared to recall your warrior, especially if your city is found by the barbarians because they're very angry and very evil. By the way, if for some reason you've still got your warrior in your capital when your scout is built, don't do this, but if for some reason you have, then you cannot keep 2 units on the same tile. This is a question I keep getting asked. How do you stack units? The short answer is, unless it's a standard unit and like a support unit, i.e. a battering ram, you can't stack them. You can only have 1 unit on 1 tile for the most part. Since you've just completed production of your scout, you now need to think about what to build next for your second build. And for your second build, what I'd consider doing is probably going for another scout. That's something I do quite a bit to get exploring, like I said, find them villages and stuff like that. However, if there are barbarians near you, almost certainly go and build a slinger. Slingers are better than warriors at this stage because they're ranged units, which I tend to prefer early in the game. And also, if you kill a barbarian unit with a slinger, you will actually get a Eureka for it. And I'll explain what those are in a little bit. You could also try and go for a builder if you feel that's what you really need, and if for some reason your city has managed to grow really fast and you're feeling brave, maybe you could even try and push a second city out. Although I do like getting more cities out quickly, I think that's important, a second build for me tends not to be a settler. By the way, if you don't want to have to choose a production every single time your city builds something, you can actually queue builds in this version of Civilization 6. You can. You just go onto the city, you go on to change city production, you click on the queue button. As you can see, I have it selected already and have a scout ready to be built once my Sayer 1 is complete. Basically, once it's built this science district, it'll just get straight on with the scout instead of bothering me. We can actually add other things. We could add a builder and a warrior and a slinger. As you can see, they're filling up. then another scout, and then another scout, and then you get the idea. And if you want to delete anything, just press X on it. I will probably delete all these now because they are pointless, and I did it for the purposes of this video. So we've still got the dangers of barbarian scouts coming up in this video, as well as stuff like tech Eurekas and an overview of city-states. But before we go any further, please do remember to keep leaving your suggestions down in the comments of things you want to see me cover in these videos. I've already got the second half to this coming out next week, but there's lots more tutorials we're still gonna do. Also, if you are enjoying today, please consider giving the video a like, it helps us out so much, and subscribing to the channel. Let's dive back in. Turn 8 in our Germany game was when we first ran into some actual real-life barbarians. Wow. Yeah, it sounds very exciting, but if this scout finds your city, it will go onto alert mode, run back to its friends in the camp it's from, and then they'll start spawning angry, violent units like there's no tomorrow, which is obviously a bad thing. Do your best to kill this scout before it finds your city, and do your best to kill it especially if it gets onto alert mode. So turn 8 wasn't all bad because we actually ran into our first city-state. So city-states could be its own video and maybe it will in the future, but let's keep to the very basics today. So each city-state, depending on its type, some examples of the types of city-states you get are economic city-states, cultural, scientific, military, etc, etc. But these will reward your influence with them by giving you appropriate rewards. For example, if you send one envoy to a science city-state, then you will get +2 science in your capital. I'm presuming you see the correlation there. In general, it makes sense to make use of these city-states as much as possible and prioritise being Caesarian of a few of them because they can give you some really nice rewards. Unless you're Germany, and in that case you should just eat them for breakfast because that's what your civilization was made to do. So now that we're looking at what to research once again, it's probably time to talk more in detail about Eurekas and science boosts. Like, I almost mentioned them earlier with the slinger and the Eureka to archery, but I didn't, so let's do it now. So as soon as you are past those initial technologies, you know, the likes of animal husbandry and mining, each technology then has a boost. At the bottom of the box of each technology, well, pretty much every technology, it says boost followed by an instruction. Now this instruction, by completing the mission, for example, like I said earlier, killing a barbarian with a slinger gives you the Eureka for archery, it gives you a big science boost towards researching that technology, a big free science boost, which is obviously very nice. So just how big is this science boost? Well, it's 40%. 40% of the actual technology. So that is 40% of the tech research done for you just by completing what tends to be, especially in the very early game, just easy missions. You need to do this because it just helps you progress along the tech tree so much faster, and think about all that science you're saving by doing these tech boosts. Honestly, if you carry these out, it will improve your early game so much. Turn 11 was also when we had to make our next choice on what else to build. Now at this stage, you can do pretty much whatever you want. I definitely consider building a slinger either here or earlier because barbarians are never too far away, but if you feel like there's space and time, maybe you can go into a settler. Getting that second city out is so important, and we'll talk more about that in the next episode. And maybe you could build a monument, but I don't tend to build those until I've got at least a few cities. I think building our cities up with stuff like builders and settlers is far more important. Well, since we're talking about builders, why don't we look how to use them? So for the final deep dive of the episode, we are going to be focusing on builders, and very luckily in this game I've loaded up, we have got a fresh builder ready to put to work. So what are builders? Well, if you've only played Civilization Revolution in the past, you're probably not going to know at all. If you've played Civ 5 in the past or a previous Civ game, they are most comparable to workers, but the biggest difference is you can only improve 3 tiles with them as standard. Workers had unlimited charges, builders have 3. So what kind of things can you improve with a builder? So you can improve strategic resources like that. If you work on something like that, that'd be absolutely great. Improve the yield. And you'd also get access to stone, or maybe if you built on the iron up here, you get access to the iron. Both of these things are very much needed in the game. especially the iron. That's invaluable. Also, you can work on luxury resources such as the incense here, or you can just build mines on these sort of hilly tiles, or farms on tile, which you can build farms on, obviously. So there's many ways you can build builders, but I tend to focus improving my strategic and luxury resources with them. There are a few exceptions. Maybe if I have a city that really needs some production, I will focus on building a mine if that's the best way to boost its production, rather than improving a luxury, for example. One final thing you can do with builders, and this is where we're going to show how to use the builder, is you can chop down trees. Now, chopping down trees is a really cool tip, because if you chop down trees, you can boost production in a city. So for example, right now, it's going to take us 8 turns to get that monument built. Here with the builder, we'll go onto the bottom bar here. As you can see, I'm scrolling along. We'll go onto build improvements, click A on that, we are an Xbox, and as you can see, this brings up all options that are available. Now, if we were on something like that incense, that luxury resource over there, this one here, and we had already got the technology irrigation, meaning we could build on it, then we'd have an option on there to build on the incense, which would be a plantation. But seeing as we're just on a pretty bog standard tile with nothing else to build, we can only currently remove the woods, which will give us some production. So if we just click A on that on the Xbox, as you can see, all of the production has gone there. We've cleared the tile, ready to build our campus, and we have got the monument down to 2 turns. There's lots of ways of using builders. Obviously, any questions, let me know down in the comments. That is it for today's episode, but next time, we're going to take a look at what you need to know to move beyond the first 10, 11, 12 turns, and really consolidate the start you've made. We're also going to look to try and answer questions like, how many cities do you need in your early empire to be successful? How many cities do you need in the game overall? Should you go high? Should you go wide? What do those sort of terms mean? We're also going to take a focus on the civics tree and ask what is the best way to use a trader, amongst lots of other things and questions that crop up. In the meantime, please do keep the questions and suggestions coming down in the comment sections of videos like this. I read them all, I am taking note, and I will be sure to try and answer as many as possible. If there's anything you feel I didn't cover properly today, feel free to leave that down in the comments as well. I'll read them and hopefully they'll be useful not just to me, but for other people, and if they're good, I will probably feature them next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you in another video soon.